Okay, so one thing I want to start this with is that this current build we'll be showcasing is in development. Usually when we do public testing session or showcases, we usually use builds that while in development, we've made sure that we've polished most kinks. You'll see there's a lot of stuff that are clearly unfinished or for testing purposes in this, so do keep it in mind that everything we're showing is not final at all.
You guys heard a man.
So to start with, I want to showcase kind of the run system because we've got a lot of questions about that last time we talked about it. So I kind of want to just quickly illustrate it in action.
All right.
So let's go into the one center.
Oh, 2-time pog?
Just watch out you don't die.
If I die in O2, I'm gonna be really sad, honestly.
Would be funny if I actually did.
Do it for content.
Yes.
Throwing for views.
Pega, yes. Right, boys, here we go.
So if you've got any question, now would be a good time since this is mostly just, Oryx 2. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen it before.
Yeah, so the first and obvious question I have, when can we expect Oryx 3 to be released for the public servers?
Yeah, I bet that you guys have questions already a few times
So
now.
this is a question I was expecting to be asked first.
Yeah.
So we'd like to be able to commit to a date, but we want to be sure that everything on Oryx 3's side is ready and done. On top of this, I know another question people will have is, what about disconnects? What about the stability of the client? This is another reason why we're taking our time and not announcing a date right now for Oryx 3. I just want to make sure that the client will be ready for it and they will not disconnect on release. In fact, we'll have more information regarding that and other topics within the first part of our producer letter, which we'll release at the end of this Q&A. So look forward to that for more information on a few current topics like the disconnect.
I guess we go every second one, so now it's your turn, cousin.
Well, my chat wants to know like what kind of drops we can expect from the dungeons, because you have said there's gonna be white bags and stuff like that. But is there any exact items you can leak quite yet as what will drop from the bosses?
So let's see. I'm trying to figure out how much information do I want to give you guys.
All of it.
Yes, all of it.
So we're currently prototyping a multitude of concepts for UTs. Some of them you might have seen leak, and while we don't usually comment on them, I do want to point out that they're quite different than from what the final product would be. And I'd quickly go back to the question a bit, but here's the rune system. Sprites are a bit placeholdery. So here's what happens if I use the helmet rune. This is currently a placeholder, but let's wait a little bit.
Oh, what the?
So if one person uses a rune, but no one else does, here's what happens. I will get the rune back. And
Oh,
I can
this looks
reuse it
sick,
again.
boys.
So that if you are unsure if there's enough rune in your group, you can always feel free to use the rune. And if other people have them, they'll be able to also freely use it. And if 3 of them happen to be in your group, you'll be able to go straight into Oryx's Sanctuary. But if there's not enough people, then that's okay. You can always just try to lead people into showing their end that way. And in this case, if all 3 runes are there,
That looks sick.
door opens. So I see some questions about reusing runes.
Yeah, I was gonna explain that to them.
Yeah, so runes, as long as the portal does not open, are not consumed. What happens is when you use it, it's consumed, and once monument turns back to inactive, it will drop the rune in a purple bag for you to pick up. So as long as the 3 runes haven't been used, activated, then they will not be fully consumed. runes will be available as drop from a multitude of enemies. We've provided information about this in the past, and we'll provide a bit more information again during the producer letter. So look forward to that as well. To go back to the question in terms of UTs, we're working on a decent amount of UTs, is what I'll say. I don't want to set up on a specific amount of numbers and what they specifically are, since we're still very much in the prototyping phase and may drop a few concepts. But we're trying to get the feel for the boss that the UT will drop from, while at the same time provide something new and different for players to play. And those UTs will be on the level of difficulty you should expect from this dungeon.
What about STs? Is there plans for STs for this?
Yes, the Bard SD set that we've showcased on the blog recently and I'm currently using will be dropping from this dungeon.
Will it drop from like one for every boss, or like one piece per boss, or?
So the way we work is you'll be able to get 2 pieces from the mini bosses and 2 pieces from Oryx.
Are the T14, T7, T15 items going to drop from O3 or mini bosses? Can you?
3 only for the tier 14, tier 7, and tier 15.
All right, perfect.
And the actual loot, like if you're doing like a Lost Halls, you have guaranteed if you're getting your soulbound drops from MBC, not from Void, right? How is that going to be on O3?
So you'll see that we have some loot implemented in this build. The loot table and specific chances are currently still work in progress. But one of the ideas we've been really happy about, that we've been experimenting with, is making it so that Oryx 3 will be guaranteed to drop 1 tier 14, 1 tier 7, and 1 tier 15 every single run.
That's interesting.
That means if you solo 3, you will have a full tiered set every time. One of the big goals with the rune system is making this dungeon less accessible, but make it just as rewarding when you do manage to get through it.
MC or tier 7, by the way. I don't know the stress here.
So to talk a bit about Gemspark, I'm sure many of you who played PT will probably notice that we've updated the look of the room. It's still work in progress. We're still updating some things here and there, but in particular, you should be able to much more easily tell the teleport location now.
All right. So what
So,
are
like,
the locations? Sorry, your go.
No, go.
No,
It's good.
you go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, in terms of any teleports, like the 4 like places, like the cardinal directions, like, can you actually hit him? Because he TP's away so fast. Like, are you able to hit him there?
So yeah, the way you're supposed to hit him is kind of predict where he's going to go. You kind of have to, especially in a group, split up and kind of camp out each spot, which is quite different from most bosses.
All right, I've only done it solo, so I wouldn't really know what the group part. Sorry.
But yeah, you can also try to wait for him towards the middle. Is also usually safer to hit him when it happens.
Did anyone see the coin? I didn't see.
I think it's top, but I'm not sure, honestly. It looks like it was bottom, right?
Well, we got right at least.
My chat wants to know, will there be another testing period before Exalt launches?
So currently we don't have any specific plan for that. That may change, but currently, as it stands, we don't have any plans for it. Based on our progress, based on this showcase, we'll be able to get additional feedback on some of the new content that we've created since. But in general, the intent of the original PT session was to get kind of feedback on our direction for this dungeon, as well as some of the technical features that we weren't sure about if they would be working in the big group, which we've been able to get enough data of. So I'm not ruling it out completely, but currently there's nothing scheduled for it.
Oh,
So
there
there's
actually drops in here now. All right.
Yeah, they drop greater pots.
Yeah. You might notice some of the drops might be weird. For example, you can drop tier 2 of armor right now, so this drop
Yeah, I
table
was
is
going to say.
wonky right now. So don't pay too much attention to the mini boss drop table.
Right.
One thing you've noticed on Oryx is we've added a lot of animation, including this intro animation, and don't get it by the class wine because you'd get drunk for 20 seconds.
You shouldn't have
So-
warned them.
We've added a lot of animations to telegraph most attacks. There's still a few missing in this build, but you should be able to predict in advance what Oryx is going to do.
I love the
once
sword
you've
swing.
learned
It's such
which-
a good animation. I like it.
Once you've learned which animation refers to which attack, you should be able to know exactly what his next move will be and react accordingly.
My cat wants to know if there's any like plans you can say about Month of the Mad God in terms of when it's coming out, what the content's going to be
So-
for it this year.
For Monthly Mad God, you will have to wait for the second part of a producer letter where we'll go into a lot of details about that. I do want to say there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that we have to talk about, but we aren't quite ready to share everything yet. So do look forward to that part too, which we will hopefully be releasing sooner rather than later. But yes, you will get information on Monthly Mad God pretty soon.
All right, perfect. Is there anything new with the UT exchange system you can talk about? Like any plans, like any more content about it or anything? Because it's gonna come out when Unity comes out, correct? Or around then.
So what I can say is I hope you look forward to the second part of a producer letter.
Oh man.
That's why it's in 2 parts. There's a lot of
There's a lot in the second part that I wish I could talk about, but not quite. But I'm really excited to be able to share about some of the plans we've had for a while that we've kept secret. So there's a lot of things that we plan to do in the future, and RX3 is kind of a big content release right now, but it's not the only thing we've been working on.
My chat wants to know about dungeon reworks, like when the shadow rework gonna happen, and you guys have any other dungeons in plan, like in the mind for also another rework?
So Shadow's rework is something that sadly we basically let slip for a bit because when we were deciding what kind of content we wanted to go with for Unity's release, for Exalt's release, we thought that a simple dungeon rework wouldn't be enough. We thought people wanted the next step of endgame, and the next step of Oryx made the most sense to us. So we kind of sidetracked that. But we'll get back to it. I don't have a specific time frame for it. It's definitely still in the cards. It's just a matter of finding the right amount of time to work on it when we have a lot of different things in the work as well. But
Fair enough.
My chat want
just
to know if it's
other
gonna
than-
be Exalt only, or if it's gonna work on Flash.
RX3,
Yeah.
RX3 will be Exalt only. Many of the effects we're using are simply not working well on Flash at all. For example, the early beams you'll see later just would not work on Flash. So we really had to force Exalt only on this. We'll go into more detail in the first part of a producer layer, which will be released after this Q&A, so you have a more thorough reasoning of it.
So what would happen if someone is playing on Flash and entering? Will they just crash?
You will not be able to enter.
Okay, makes sense.
You will be blocked from entering. So yeah.
When is the producer letter part 2? Can you say any idea when it will come out? Because people really want to know.
I don't have a specific date to say. It depends on a few factors.
Alright, fair enough.
But hopefully very soon.
Okay, now the hard part starts. One of my viewers asked earlier about Lost Halls why the Void is not having a guaranteed drop as NBC because it's supposed to be the last boss. I know it's not related to this, but
So the reason why we took out guaranteed drop in terms of Lost Stones was simply put, it was just guaranteed gave way too much. NBC does not have guaranteed life and mana potion, which is what Void drops. And we believe that adding guaranteed death and attack would feel still kind of worthless to most people who run Void. So we decided against it. I should pay more attention since I'm dying right now.
Yeah, focus a little bit more right now.
Oh my god, he's hitting so hard.
So yeah.
Is there any plan to add like more servers in terms of, like South America and stuff like that? My chat wants to know about.
I will answer in a bit. Just need to focus this.
All right, but oh, I'm dead.
Goodbye.
Oh, rip. I died too. Yikes. Let's see.
And I also died.
They're also talking about pets. So is there like confirmed the rework of pets?
So by that machines means the in and out of combat system we presented a little while back. Let's just say you should also maybe wait for the whole second part of our producer there.
Oh my!
Right.
This part 2 of producer is gonna be hyped up as hell.
So do we got the fourth boss up and running so we can try him, or he's not done yet?
Is here, Chief Base is ready. There is still a heavily work in progress. Let's see if we can get him.
Let's see if I don't accidentally press Nexus this time and miss everything. Because I have to talk now.
Imagine me surviving the fight. I'm not good enough at the game, guys.
Oh, we got
There
him.
we go. We got him first try.
B.
So do keep in mind this branch is the most work in progress of them all. We're still heavily working on the environment, and still the enemy placement, for example, is not our final. It's the first pass at it. And one thing I will point out for the boss: immediately when we get to the boss room, immediately get near the center, since it will close off some of the outside tile, and we've not added a proper telegraph for that yet and proper timing. So it will instantly happen. That's why you should instantly get to the boss so you don't get disconnected.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing a new character. Oh fuck! I missed out.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
was it?
Yikes! Can we restart?
Sure.
Might be wise, yes.
Someone in my chat wants to know if Unibro has soloed pet list 03 yet.
No, I haven't had the time, unfortunately.
We've had someone who desperately has been trying to do
Yeah,
a
we have
poison only run, and always failing at the last minute. But Patless, we've had quite
Thank
a
you.
few people get very far in it. I don't think we've had a full finished version yet.
We're lucky.
This is the new one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and we got the right one again. That's nice.
Do you guys plan on adding like a specific training server? Because right now there's like an official training server, right? But do you guys plan on making an official one? Or...
I don't really have any plan right now to make specific servers. We kind of like to let the community organize itself on that front and what the belief is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Since it's been a thing since the very start of the game, people have always grouped up on one server, and I'm pretty sure even if we made a training server, some people will probably still remain on that one server.
I'd say so, yeah.
I had a question, but I just lost it. Fudge. Awkward. Hold on. Yeah, about the vault system. You have already implemented, like, if you shift click, you can see all your vaults and stuff like that. Is there a plan to get it optional to take it away from the bags, the drop bags? Because that kind of ruins the RNG or the luck factor, or what? Not luck, but when you know the
Yeah, that's
you
the
say-
way it's a mystery factor of what did I
Yeah,
get.
exactly. So if you're accidentally hover over the white bag or the SD bag and you're getting like, oh darn it, I already spoiled my surprise, right?
I'd have to talk with or UI guy to see, but I believe we should be able to make something around that. It's not a concrete plan, but if people really want it, we can definitely add that to our backlog and eventually add it.
Fundef, they already said it. It's gonna be from
Someone
Oryx
in my chat
3.
wants to know: do you guys have more plans in terms of character progression instead of just maxing stats? Is there anything more you want to be adding to that?
Producer letter part 2.
Yep.
Oh, this part 2 letter is actually crazy, dude.
We had to split it because there was so much stuff to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
we decided to split it between current issues and future of the game. So I hope you guys are really looking forward to it as much as we are to share all of that information.
You guys
By
have
the way, is
Remember,
there?
go to the center.
Go to the center immediately.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen this one, so maybe we should just walk the strats.
Okay, because you'll see. Yeah. The outside is now unlockable wire. So.
Kill the minions.
So. Can you talk about Beza for a bit?
Yes, sure,
Really?
Beza. There's a lot to talk about with Beza. Beza is the fourth and final mini-boss of Oryx 3. He is the army guy. He is the man behind all the organization of Oryx's troops.
Cool.
The main mechanics that you will see, as you are seeing right now, in his fight are his minions. He will rely heavily on them as the fight goes on, as well as his buff banner, which is, well, you might see it. You see those green things that show up every once in a while?
Yeah.
Those. If the boss or any minion stands inside of the range of the banner, try
Yeah.
to drag the boss in there if you want, then they will be buffed. They will do
Okay, so
stronger
you don't want
attacks. In fact, you countered him. You got him to counter. Now he's doing a really big buff banner. Now the entire area is covered with the buff.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I'm sure some people might have noticed the pattern, but each mini boss is kind of based on one part of Oryx 3's mechanics, and Beza is based on the exalted attacks. So his minions and himself can become exalted as banner, doing more damage and sometimes extra poverty.
Yes.
So you could
Also,
definitely
it's
tell like this fight is or this new dungeon is made for the new client, like the Exalt. Is there like going to be rework on every dungeons to Exalt version? Like with the
So-
animation and shots and stuff like that, you know?
So I'm not sure if we'll have specifically rework, but it is a wish of mine to slowly update the game to kind of feature more and more of those cool effects that we couldn't do before. So it's probably a process that we'll be doing through polish updates, slowly updating the game to be much more polished in terms of visuals in a way that we couldn't do before.
Anyway, as for the minions, I would like to point out, you can see you can kill them, they turn into ghosts. That's because like we want you to have someone to shoot at always. But they do respawn always. It's a bit of both worlds where you have minions and also be able to DPS them and get rewarded for it, but not too much.
Right. I see
Yeah,
there is less black tiles on the testing. Is that supposed to be on the prod 2 later, or is that just me thinking it is?
I don't think we made any changes on that front.
Is there a plan to do it?
Not sure on specific plans on that front. We're always up for improving it. But for the very specific right now, our focus is kind of on all those disconnection issues that everyone has been bringing up and been very passionate about. So we'll be trying to do our best and focus our resources to try and take care of that. So
My chat is wondering if there are going to be more classes that are going to get the ability stun.
Stun is a curse effect in general. It's one that completely makes an enemy stop shooting. So it's one of those effects that we've been very cautious on its availability. Knight, as its more class identity based around it. And while we may be able to bring it to other classes, it would have to follow a similar restriction to Knight to make sure you're not completely making it
Ow.
easily broken. And watch out, you know.
Yeah.
Is there any plan for making a slider or something like that for player transparency, so you can make them invisible or just less visible, so it's easier to dodge and stuff like
Good question.
I'm not sure on the specific of a slider, but as we said in a few Q&As in the past, we do want to introduce some way to have better visibility in terms of player transparency. In terms of when that will happen, I can't specifically tell you. We don't have a specific date in mind for something, but something we very much hear you guys being passionate about. So we'll definitely try to implement that when we can.
That sounds
Cool,
like a
Um,
good
countering
idea.
again.
Good question.
This might be
Oh,
messy.
oh, oh,
Yep, it's
that
messy.
was quite messy.
You got countered on.
yikes.
Another one. Do you guys have any plans to rework any of the current classes? Some people have brought up in my chat, such as Sork and Necro.
So it's a questions I've seen multiple times on the Discord, and my answer is always the same in terms of balance. Right now, we kind of want to focus on more systemic balance first, kind of take care of a few problem issues, and then slowly go back and kind of update a few classes that are fallen behind in terms of usage. So we can't access Oryx. That's currently bugged, so that's good to know.
That's a
All
shame.
right.
All I know what to do after the stream.
So let's go back into Nexus.
I'm just grabbing a new character.
Look,
Do you
yes,
guys have any plans to rework Vit or any other stat in the game right
producer's letter?
Produce ledger.
Yeah,
Part 1 or Part 2?
that's a good question. Part 2, I think.
It will be
Oh,
part 2.
man.
I wouldn't say rework, but some of you may be familiar with what I'm talking about. So we're interested in making Vit much more of a useful stat, for sure.
Apparently, people are having issues loading into Nexus. Are you guys like aware of this, and can you comment on it if you are?
Not being able to load in Nexus.
Yeah.
I'd put in more detail on the specific. Is this like all the time? Is this just one time?
Is
Is
it
it
right
as a
now?
server is
or-
down, server is full, etc. But I think that will fall kind of onto the disconnection in general, which we want to improve for sure. Non-Latin letters question. Yes, we were. I believe we have a fix coming for that. I believe maybe in the next update or so. So you shouldn't have to wait too long for that.
Someone in my chat is asking the following: is there a plan to release the odds for mystery box and crates?
Currently, we don't have a specific plans for that. It's something we can probably discuss once we are out of the once we've officially released the client, polish up the mystery box UI and things like that. Currently, it's one of those things that I definitely can see players wanting, but as you'd see in our second producer now, we have a lot of things we want to do. So it's always about finding the right resources for the right things. So it's something we can consider for sure, though.
Is there any plan to rework how you store marks, like stacking or anything like that? Because I know a lot of people are curious.
Producer letter part 2.
All right. Another big question people have had is about mules and how they're going to work. If you guys are going to do a ban wave on them, or what are you going to do with mules? Because you can't really use mules when Exalt comes out, because you can only
Our
upload one.
policy with mules is always that we don't officially support them, as in but we're not gonna go for them on purpose unless you're tied to RWT or other offenses like this. But if your account gets banned, if your mirror account gets banned, we're not going to unban it. So we're not going to touch your mule directly unless you're doing very shitty things with them. But we also won't be providing direct support in case of issues with them.
My chat is asking, will we see any weapon reworks?
Weapon reworks. So that basically falls in line with the class question earlier. It's the same
Costler,
thing. We want to
what were they
focus
just getting?
on systemic balance first. Once we've done that,
What is the question
we
about the
kind of
fish killing?
want to take a
Someone
look again
asked
at things in different ways. We'll likely be taking mostly pretty class by class rather than a specific weapon, but we'll see if the approach will take then.